Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here. Hope everyone's well. So today I thought I'd cover something a bit different as I've been planning to talk about football. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to upload my reaction to a live game or anything like that. But for those who might be outside of Europe or who don't follow football, hope you'll still enjoy this video somehow. But I hope I can get you interested in football. But at the moment, it's the European Cup going on. So I thought I'd talk about some of my thoughts on that. As I've mentioned before on this channel, like, I'm a big fan of Italian football as well as Celtic. So I especially hope to hear from fellow Italian and Celtic fans about their thoughts. For instance, like who do you think has been, which players do you think have been most impressive in the Euros, and who would you like to see sign for your club? Anyone who wants to comment in the comment section, as ever, is always welcome to do so. And of course, you don't have to be an Italian or Celtic fan to say who you would like to see at your club. I'd love to hear from people from different clubs, like talking about who they would love to see their club sign, and what they think of the Euros so far, like what they think about how the tournament's gone, how it's been organised, what people think about the rule changes, like those who follow football. Like, I think some of these rules, like the handball rule, are really confusing and a bit annoying, and some of the things like where the referees or linesmen put their flags up really late, that's quite annoying as well. I think that they should do it earlier. And like, I think the offside rule should be like when like if normally a goal, or when there's a throw-in or a goal kick or a corner kick or whatever, it's normally when the whole ball crosses the line. So I think like it should be, offside should be when the player's behind the last defender, if you know. I hope that makes sense. I think the handball rule is a bit annoying perhaps, and some of the changes, but overall people say the referees have been doing really well. So I'd love to hear your views generally in the comment section about football generally. I know this is a bit I've sort of thought about doing it for a while, but I haven't really planned it hugely, so it might be a bit all over the place. But yeah, so I'd love to hear your views. I didn't want to be too planned or regimented. I want it to be like a bit flexible and talk about some of my thoughts about football generally. But yeah, I'd especially love to hear, as I say, from Italian and Celtic fans about who you would love to see sign for your club, who you would love to see your club sign, and also like just general football fans, like who would you love to see your club sign from the Euros, which players have impressed you, and possibly even like just general views, like which nations have impressed you, or again how you think the organisation's been, and also the refereeing and things like that. So my thoughts about Italy so far is I think it's really good that we, as I say as a fan, are starting to play more attacking football. Like old Italian teams used to always play really defensive football, which was known to be a bit boring. And I think it's really, I think also it wasn't really successful in the last stages. But I think Mancini so far, I don't want to sing his praises too much just yet, but I think he's really transformed Italian football from where it was like only a few years ago, when like we were struggling to qualify, and we didn't even qualify for the World Cup, and he's really transformed it back to like bring some pride back to Italian football. So I hope he can go all the way, obviously, as an Italian fan. I think the World Cup is much more important in my opinion, so I'd sacrifice Euros for that if necessary. If we won this but then didn't do well in the World Cup, I'd be more disappointed than the other way around. But I think it is good to see Italian football like having an identity, closing players down, like pressing, playing a high pressing game, but also having the defence when necessary. So far I think Italy's played well, but we haven't really played anyone major yet, so it'll be a test when we play teams like, see how we do against Austria. Hopefully we'll win that, obviously, I would hope for. But like when we play Portugal, how we get, if they get through, or Belgium, or whoever it is, I don't be too presumptive. If we get through and we play them, which I think we should do on paper, but football's not played on paper, obviously. It depends how well we perform and how well they perform. But I think that it'll be a test to see when we play against teams like Belgium. We beat them in the last Euros, so hopefully we can do that again. I wonder if it'll be like Mancini will be like Conte, who brought some pride back to Italian football but couldn't go all the way. So I wonder if Mancini will do better and like go all the way. I know we lost last time to Germany on penalties, which is, I think Germany only lost one game on penalties. That was like against Brazil in youth football. So they've never lost on penalties. So obviously they're going to always be difficult. Excuse me. And I think it'd be great to see Italian football learn from the Germans, like how to take penalties, how to work on sports science and like positivity, but also and that tenacity and things like that, and also like just general organisation and the science that Germans use for football, like the sports science they use. But yeah, so again, I'd love to hear from fans like who's impressed you and who you would like to see at your club. But yeah, going back to Italy, I think one fear I have is like we've not played anyone really difficult yet. So there's still a lot of good teams like France and Germany, even Portugal or Spain, or teams like that, who we often struggle against, or even England or teams like that. Should be careful what I say. But yeah, so I think there's still lots of good teams in it, and they could surprise us. But the other thing is, I think like there was one time where the goalkeeper Donnarumma, who's quite young, I think he punched the ball when I think he should have held it. So I'd love to see him hold the ball more instead of punching it a lot of time. So I think that is much more safer for a goalkeeper. It gives less chances, and also. Yeah, so that's one of the fears I have, and like maybe we weren't clinical enough in our games, like even against Turkey, although we beat them 3-0, I think they were quite poor, and it took us quite a while to break them down. And Switzerland and Wales we can only score one against, so even though we scored quite a lot, the people we played haven't been really that great yet. So I wonder if we'll really be able to break teams down or have the quality. And I think Italy's not really a team of stars at the moment, it's just teamwork, which hopefully will make the dream work. So I think that should be hopefully something maybe that will work in our advantage. But yeah, I'd love to see, as I say, Italy go all the way. Most important would be the World Cup. I'd definitely love to see Italy. Like I have this mad dream about Italy winning 3 World Cups in a row. But at the moment, I think Italy's played well, and Mancini's done a great job so far. Again, I don't want to jinx it or go too far yet, but because we haven't played anyone really that hard yet. But it's great to see Italy playing a bit more attack-minded and like closing teams down, playing as a team and not letting the defence have too much time, and like playing well in spells, because I know you can't play well for 90 minutes. Sometimes you have to take a break a little bit and give the opposition a bit. They're going to have the ball for some time, no matter how good you are, I think, and especially when you play them in the heat and things like that. So, but yeah, I think Italy's done quite well so far, and I'd love to see Celtic, as I say, as a Celtic fan, as well as the town teams, club teams, by look into who we could buy. And I hope some people out there, some scouts from Celtic or a football director or whatever, is looking at, or Celtic as a club is looking at the top players to see how they're forming, and like the most consistent players, because they might play well for 1 or 2 games, but I'd love to see players who play well week in, week out, like players like, obviously, I mean, it might be out of the price range of many Italian teams, or especially Celtic as well, like players like Kante or players like that, and see how they're forming and how they form on the big stage, and see which ones we want to sign. So that would be interesting. But yeah, so far I think it's been quite a good and interesting tournament. Germany versus England should be a massive game, because obviously that's like a derby, just like when England plays Scotland, and normally Germany and England is a massive game. On that note, some of the games I've thought about, obviously I wasn't as old as I might look with my balding hair and all that. I wasn't born when England beat Germany in '66, obviously, but so that's a big game. But since then, most of the time Germany have beaten England. I think there's only been 1 or 2, maybe 3 victories that England have had over Germany, and most of them have probably been in friendlies. But I'm thinking like memorable games like '90, the World Cup in Italia '90, obviously in Italy, where Germany won on penalties. Euro '96, I think England played really well, probably played better than Germany, although the commentary was a bit biased from English commentators perhaps. But people said the Germans were like robots with their passing before that. So, but I think England played really well, but were unlucky to lose on penalties again. So it normally goes to penalties. But I remember England did beat Germany 5-1 with Michael Owen scored a hat-trick, I believe. I think that was in 2001. Still, Germany managed to get to the final like a year later. So, but yeah, so Euro '96, Italia '90 before that, and a few games since. Germany, obviously, in 2010 beat England in the World Cup. So most of the time when they played, it's been the World Cup, I think, but they've played once or twice in Euros. But normally Germany come out top. I think it'd be interesting. I know people say Germany aren't as good as they normally are this time around. So it'd be interesting to see, I think, how they play against England and what teams England put out. A lot of people are saying Gareth Southgate is a bit of a naive manager, or he's a bit too defensive, or he's a nice guy but he's a bit boring perhaps, or doesn't have a huge character. So but he might prove people wrong, I suppose. But yeah, they say like he's a nice guy but he doesn't have a huge amount of character, and also he plays too defensive. So and they say that England have the players to beat like to go all the way, but they're playing too defensive. So I think that's some interesting opinions I've heard from other football fans. So as ever, I'd love to know what you think about this video and my thoughts and views. And sorry if I was a bit sporadic or whatever. But yeah, so I'm going to stop laughing because I don't want the video to be too long, and I'm out. Peace and love.